Alright, so today we got a Dell Inspiron Z15 5523. Customer dropped it off. They would like to have a full deep clean done on it. And usually for me that just means software, but in this situation it's going to be physically blowing the computer out. She said that the person who owned this was a pretty heavy smoker, so there's a good chance there's a bunch of just ash built up in here. We'll see. We'll see once we get it apart and we'll get it blown out. Well, the screw for that, first off, is completely missing, so that actually threads into nothing. So on the bottom here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes, and the keyboard comes out. So there'll be some screws underneath that. So let's start with the bottom. You just need something a little pointy, and then you'll have these little rubber covers for the screws that go down there. You can just drop in there and try and keep them in order, like near the computer, because they are different heights, so they go in different places. And then underneath these should just be regular old Phillips head, and then over here under the DVD-ROM, we got one little flat guy. This goes here. 1, 2. That screw's completely missing. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, sir, Cyber. Yes, sir. Alright, so after you got those bottom screws out, you're going to flip her over. Just use like a flathead screwdriver or like a pry tool like this. There's little slots here. I'll show you these slots. Oh. Aha. So there's little slots above the keyboard that you just slide something in. It retracts the clip. There's a little clip in there, and then you can just lift. And on this one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 of them. Now, there are a lot of keyboards have usually 1 or 2 screws holding the keyboard in. This one here has 1. You just look at the bottom on the motherboard. There are the letters KB. Oh, excuse me, my allergies acting up this morning. See if I can get you a shot of the KB here. It is right there. It's saying, hey, this screw is holding the keyboard in. You just gotta remove that before the keyboard will actually come out. Like if you get any sort of resistance with a Dell keyboard when you're trying to remove it, that means there's a screw holding it in. HPs sometimes put adhesive on the bottom of it. All right, then underneath the keyboard, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. Let's go ahead and get those out. So what we're going to do is we're going to get all these screws out. We're going to get the fans completely blown out. And then once the fans are blown out, I'm going to get it put back together. I'm going to give it over to the expert deep cleaner, and she'll get it completely cleaned using software. And we just got to be careful taking this apart. We got to find which seam comes apart. All right, that's pretty simple and straightforward. That's the seam that comes apart. I recommend using a plastic spudger to get in there, because these tools are designed to break before the computer components are. So that way If you're putting too much torque on something, this tool will snap in half first. And I guess this one we're going to need to disconnect each of these. So just lift them up, lift the tabs up gently, pull out the cables. And there you go. So this is about as far apart as I actually need to take this. I'm going to get, I have direct access to this. I have just going to put some compressed air through there. So when we're looking at this, here's your hard drive. To remove the hard drive, you have to actually remove the battery. The battery actually spans across this. So we have a pretty decent sized battery on this. And then this board over here, if you ever have a problem with this board, is just connected via cable over to there. But yeah, let me get this blown out, and then we'll get this over to Angeline. So I'll be right back. Alright, so that's done. Got it blown out. There was just a little bit of dust in there, nothing too bad. Well, it's not a back room, it's literally that yellow hose that's right here. So I could just rotate the camera. Alright, now let's get it put back together. So when you're putting it back together, one of the easiest things to forget is to actually plug in these guys. So make sure you get these guys plugged in first, and when you're putting them back in, there's a black line on the cables. The black line needs to line up with the clip that you're putting down. Otherwise, it's not making a solid connection. Just be careful. These ribbon cables are easy to damage, impossible to fix. Huh. My allergies this morning are already just going bonkers. Excuse me. Alright. Next, we put these screws back in. Alright, and then this keyboard has two cables, one for the backlight and one for the actual keyboard itself. So, get the backlight in first. And then, just make sure the word up is showing when you're putting this back in. Otherwise, you're putting it in upside down. And then just push the keyboard down, you'll hear all the clips clip themselves back in. Plug our USB back in. Grab that keyboard screw, lest we forget. And just get that guy put back in there. Now, unfortunately, that screw hole over there is actually missing its threads. So I can't just put something back in there to actually make the laptop a little bit stronger. So we just have to remember, when Angeline takes this computer apart, opening and closing the screen, you got to be delicate. Okay? Perfect. I will. And then last screw going back in is this guy. And this slides back in, nice and easy. And then each of the covers just goes back in the hole. And that's it. That is how you take one of these apart, and subsequently how you put one back together. Pretty simple and straightforward. There we go. And that is it.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked that video, make sure you hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I stream daily on Twitch at twitch.tv/SpecVengeance. And yeah, if you want to learn more about my services, check out Bradenton PC Repair.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.